Hi, so I just want to show you my blanket. That's a queen bed, so that's the size. It's not massive. I I needed this piece first, and yeah, probably during a really hard time. So I don't know. I just needed something to focus on. So I started over here and knitted this piece, and then I knitted the around and finished here. And here's the join. It's a knitted join, so I joined it by casting on and casting off. It's not really the right thing. You can see a bit of a duvet, like a bit of a bend in it that you can't see here because this is all joined by knitting, but it was all done by knitting, and I made up this pattern myself, and now it has to be pulled into shape. Like, it has to be washed and wet, and when you dry it you pull it into shape, and then it's supposed to stay in the right shape. But I'm just thinking, do I just send it to the wash first? I don't know. But yeah, so they're cute colours. They sort of come out slightly darker on this camera, and also the light up there is a bit yellow, so it's casting a different light. But anyway, so that's my little knitting. I mean, that took a long time, and I guess that's what happens when you're sleeping in your car and you can't think of anything. You just make up something that you have to do. But I use this to pretty much deal with train traveling and different things like that. So I carry it in my bag, and that's my outcome. I decided I wanted to finish it, so I did this last square this this week and the weekend. But I started that one, I think it's probably 4 months, yeah, something like that. I started it in winter and it's now November, so that's spring, and almost at the end of spring now. So yeah, so it's been 3 or 4 months, and yeah, so anyway, I'm going to start doing some other knitting, and I've got a plan to do a really cute lace project. So that's not just to do with things, that's because I want to do more, and yeah, I want to progress and practice, learn these skills. I made that pattern up myself just to try and learn or practice a bit, and so I didn't use a pattern at all, and this pink one took forever because I had to keep going back and fixing it, and I couldn't see my mistakes until much later. And so when I had to undo things, that takes a bit of time. It's a bit annoying, but anyway, I don't know which colour I like the best. I don't know, maybe the yellow, maybe the blue. I don't know, it's hard because, yeah, it was meant to be, I was going to do all pink, but anyway, the plan changed because it took so long. So that's about maybe 12, well, it's 12 balls because there's 3 of each colour, but each square took, 2.5 or slightly over 2.5 balls, but because I had to change colour, I had to use a different colour each time. Anyway, so that's my story. I remember learning something, just to add something to this. I remember learning that when people have a story, there's just something they tell, something they say about, but in the end of the day, the story is just a story. It's a bit of a racket that we just pedal on, and I just want to be here and now, I suppose, and just so glad that I finished this blanket. I made up all those stitches myself. It was a challenge, but now doing it and completing it, I have learnt how to recognise those stitches, what they look like, and when I've made a mistake, I'm much quicker at learning where they are and seeing them and going back. And so so it gives me that challenge to see them quickly and backtrack quicker so that I get forward moving quicker. And I suppose that can be applied to anything. So this knitting project has been really good and reminds me of my late grandmother, and my stepmom uses or used to knit. And so I just wish we learnt this at school, and I wish we as women, female women's, I wish we did all the home things in school and a focus on sort of home management rather than everyone being out being competitive and being nasty and bitchy and all of this. I wish our Western women would come back home, because my mother wasn't in my home. She's not true to my race, and it's really demoralising, to be honest. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine a mother leaving a baby at 5 months. It just doesn't compute to me. But it's cost me a lot, and I was very forgiving. And I know that's a bit of a story, and probably a little bit of a racket as well, because it's just a story. But I don't know. What do I want to say about it? I kind of wish I didn't have to do everything alone, but that's how it's had to be. So, you know what? The one thing at the moment that helps me to some degree is watching Locusts and Honey, because I know that there are men of our people who do care about our country, who do know that we are supposed to be a certain way, and that way will guarantee our success as a race and as a people and peoples on the land. And I really think the anti-white apartheid in the Commonwealth of Australia is very completely inappropriate and a war crime. And I hadn't really heard that from anybody else. And so Locusts and Honey channel on YouTube has given me the backing, I suppose, to bring it out in the courts. I've won one case about a similar thing in a tribunal, and I have to bite the bullet and put these court papers in and clear my own sort of problem, and also at the same time ensure that I actually do it in a way that in such a way that it helps my people as well on this land, our Commonwealth of Australia, that we built. We really built it. It's ours. We made it. We are too trusting, and we are letting these foreign occupants destroy our families, from the women on the inside all the way out to everything else. And it's all started with women not being in the home and men being sent out to these rackets called war and being killed off, and then the women have no place but to be working. And so the active destruction of this and other skills of ours that were our mastery were taken from us. They were taken from us women, especially the women in the West, because we really are a target, and we know who we are. We know our tribes. We know. Some people laugh at and scoff at and think, no, yeah, whatever. We are the Commonwealth of Israel. And I don't mean the state nation of Israel over in the Middle East, all that nonsense. That's fiction. That is political fiction. When our people come to realize who they are in the blessing of Almighty God, in our Constitution in this country, the Commonwealth of Australia, it's not Australia, it's the Commonwealth of Australia, and Australia is just a fiction made up over top to administer over us until we self-determine. And if we don't do it, we are going to lose everything that we built, that we live for, including and also, and not excluding anything else, but also our race, Western kind, need to wake up and come back to the gospel. And I'm not preaching, I'm saying we have a way of being, we have a proper food, we have a proper way of life, and I am, but most people are not doing it. And the reason is because our factual material, our spirituality was taken out of our schools, out of everything, and our women taken out of our homes, and our children put into public care with strangers every day. Just being familiar with them and getting to know them does not make them not be strangers anymore. They are strangers. They are teaching the children of our people. They're teaching them ill in every manner possible. They're teaching them their stray methods and thinking and whatever they want to teach them. And it's because our mothers are too gutsy. They will not stay at home. They will not humble themselves. They will not give a chance to all the single women. They are really harsh. The only natural thing that women have inside them is to protect their own children. So when it comes to other people's children, they're actually not protective of them. Okay, yeah, you heard that right. The whole education schooling system is not protecting children. You can take my word for that. I've been in the schooling system all of my life. And I know, as a matter of fact, that right now, I'll give you an example. APRA is the medical thing for the Commonwealth of Australia, supposedly. They just went through a number of years of forcing a medical procedure of poisons. They identified the COVID injections as poisons. So they oversaw that. They've deregistered, these medical practitioners and all these different things with the medical board and all of this over not poisoning people with these injections, not let them have their registrations not let them have appeals and all of this. The courts haven't assisted, and, well, I don't know right now, but the mandates were decided to be unlawful. And poisoning someone is an international war crime. And I don't have all the quotes. You can watch Locusts and Honey. He's done a fantastic job. He knows what he's doing. The men know what they're doing. That's not my business. My business is worrying about female women when something like Tickle versus Giggle comes out and a man used international law to say that him being a man and a male in a female-only app was his political view and he should be allowed to go in there. And then she had to pay for that. And that's in the Federal Court of Australia. I mean, I think the only other court is the High Court. And I regret to see the day today that has come that men have now moved into women's spaces because men no longer have their own space, because women want to be in the men's spaces all the damn time. And it's infuriating because women are so haughty and that's not just Western kind either. They say, oh, Western women. It's not about Western women. It's about all women. And you'll see this as the Western demoralisation continues over all of Western kind. You'll see it happen more and more with the other races too. So it's not going to be just, oh, it's a Western thing. These people are doing the wrong thing and dismantling every culture and their racial natural abilities are being diminished and destroyed the same as the Western ones are. And once Western civilization is gone, if that happens, hopefully it won't, but if that happens, there's not going to be good news for all the others. It's not going to be, they're going to have no one else to follow because they always follow where we go. Every single time. I'll point out countries at a different stage. I'm just not in the mood today, but man, if I warmed up for this video. But we've got apartheid, we've got a very anti-white regime going on against our people. They're white erasing us genetically, which is genocide. That's another war crime. Apartheid is a war crime. Killing our culture is a genocide. It's a form of genocide. That's a war crime. You know, coup d'etat over our country, that's a war crime because it's genocide. Aboriginals taking over the Anzac, that's a war crime. That's genocide. You know, I mean, I loved textiles when I was in high school, and you know what? I only saw it for about a couple of years, and then they advised me to do other things. But the only thing I liked doing was textiles. The only thing I was reasonable at was textiles. Why was I advised to do psychology, go for the science, you'll get better money? I was shit at science. I like it. I understand it. I even helped other students do well in it. But there was nothing in it for me. And I'm not wanting to be an individualist or anything. But it had nothing in it for me. And you're seeing kids everywhere, young adults coming out of high school, being advised, do this, especially females, being advised, do this. Western females I'm talking about. I don't talk for other races because it's not my job. They got enough advocacy without my assistance. Our people are the ones who need the advocacy right now. And we've needed it for about 40 years, maybe longer, because nobody's standing up, especially for the white man. And go ahead, YouTube, do what you like. But they've taken away our skills. They've taken away our skills. Do you know this blanket in wool alone, those are 3, 6, 9, 12 balls of 50 grams, and every ball of 50 grams is $12. $12. That's $144 just for the wool. Australian dollars. Now, if you don't think that they've stolen our materials, our resources, and our skills, when we're paying $144, and that's without me doing the knitting, that's the yarn in the balls. If you don't think we're being taken for a fucking ride, you're either blind or you're just a liar. Because there's no way you can't see that this devaluing of everything isn't related to the whole apartheid, stealing our Anzac, changing our history, defaming our people. If you can't see that, you're blind. And if you can't hear that whenever you're out and listening to people, you're deaf. And I mean, but biblical kind of blind and deaf. You may be able to see very well, but you just don't get the point of or you're an anti-white and you're doing it on purpose, and that makes you very sinister, and in fact probably a war criminal. Because this is a silent war. When you steal our skills, encourage us into falsehoods, destroy our values and our morals, take our mothers away, put the children in public care for 8 hours every day for 13 years and then more. And then still they've got no feeling of wanting to go out, no socializing, no, there were dances, there were, outings, and now it's all digital. Did you think that was just, it just happened that way? Are you joking? It didn't just happen that way. Some really evil shit people are doing this on purpose. And so I don't know really if anyone's even going to watch these videos. I don't have any video skills. I don't have speaking skills. But I do have eyes to see and ears to hear. And this project, if nothing else, has taught me that. I wish I had followed what I was good at, because right now we don't have all the equipment we once had. We don't have all the beautiful yarns that we once had, because all of this has been taken by China, by India, by Pakistan, by all these non-white countries who buy our raw resources, or rather just, very cheaply, make them into something like yarn or like whatever, and then sell them back to us. When before we were growing our stuff, we were doing the manufacturing, and then we were making the things ourselves. And that's for everything from your, from cups to wool to our tools. A lot of it we were doing ourselves. And the last, 40 years, it's all been being sent out to China and India and everywhere else. Mostly non-white countries. In the pretense that it helps them. But what it really does is it strips us our resources, because we're supposed to have the first fruits of our country. We are the Commonwealth. We made it, we defended it, and we have a right to self-determination. So all those people who bag English Australians who came over and built this country, and Irish and Scottish Australians who built this country, every time you bag us, you bag the very Commonwealth that is supporting you, that you're stealing from, because it makes you a thief. And I don't care if you don't like that. Stop racially abusing white people who built the country you're living in. And if you're white and you're doing it, you are stupid. I've just got to say it. I say it up front like that. If you are abusing your own people, not helping your own people, not supporting your own community of people, you are totally stupid, because one day your children are going to suffer the consequences. Well, I won't be here. You might not be here, but they certainly will be here. And they will no longer have your history. They will no longer have your heritage, because it's going to be taken from them if you don't stand up for it. If you don't change. Mothers, wake up. Come home. We want you at home. We want your kids at home. We don't want your kids propagandized out of loving themselves. We don't want them propagandized out of our families. We don't want them in universities that teach them to hate their own kind. We don't want them in businesses that just suck them dry and spit them out at the other end. We want them in good places, supporting their people and their communities. There's a lot of people standing up for Aboriginals, but Aboriginal is apartheid and is a thief. It's a thief. It's a theft of everything that we are. They came into our constitution by choice. They ceded sovereignty and joined ours. You can see that in Locusts and Honey, but there's other places you can read. And if you can't read, get someone else to help you. But don't think what you see on the internet is always fact. Don't think that you know anything just because you can press a few buttons and get an answer. Because you're probably really just more stupid than anybody else. Because you're not listening. So this would turn out to be a half an hour video. But anyway, all over a blanket. So I just wanted to say that this has been such a struggle, because I don't have the women around me with all the skills, where we used to have them everywhere. I used to be able to ask older women, what about this, what about that, what about that, what about that, how do I do this? Now, there aren't any. The only ones that you can find is very few. They're online, on the internet, they're far away, or they're in the shop that sells the yarn that's been imported, and we have sheep here. We should be using our wool, making our needles, and teaching our daughters, not just pissing around. Oh, look at my hair, look at my pretty plastic nails, look at my I'm special because I get to drive around and be a bitch on the road. Not all this sort of stuff. No. We need to focus. There are important things. Anyway, That's my view, and personally, I don't care if you like it or not. It's about what they have taken away from us, and you can look into other people to find out who these people are. They're absolute liars, and they are thieves. They're basically identity thieves, because they just absorb into our people and pretend that they're us when they're not. And I'm sick of white people being vilified and defamed and slandered constantly, and little boys and girls in school. And I was a teacher. I'm a school teacher, just not working because I have a disablement. Little boys and little girls, when they go on the internet and they supposedly find out how evil their white race has been towards Aboriginals or towards anyone else. What a load of nonsense. That is not true. And so anyone who's publishing on the internet all this atrocity bullshit, you need to stop. And those children do not need to be on the internet being defamed and slandered and cut down. And these are 10-year-olds and under, young children, 12-year-olds and under. Most often little 10-year-olds and 9-year-olds. And they're coming to the teacher, say me or whoever, and say, oh, our people were evil, they had slaves of Aboriginals. Really? Did they now? Which ones did? Because I don't know of any. I don't know of any. We were told to leave the natives alone, and we did leave them alone. And people always, especially white people, I think they're pretty funny. They think they know everything. They laugh when I say I don't know of any because it didn't happen. It didn't happen. That's the thing. Why laugh about it? You know why they laugh about it? Because they are anti-white. They are ready to dissolve their race. They are stupid, blind, deaf. They cannot get out of what they've been propagandized with all the ads of black men, white women, white erase the white woman so the black guy gets to have a black baby, and white men with Asian women, white erase the white guy, the Asian gets an upgrade into a white society and everything else. But the man's genetics is gone. Taking our men away from us so that women go with black men and dissolve our race. That's genocide. Sure, if you want to mix, go ahead and mix. But once you're a non, you're a non. We know that very clearly. I love my white race. I love my white Western family, my white Western heritage and skin color. And race is not skin. Race is everything about a person. You can read Jason Kuhner's book, Go Free. He says race is not about skin. It's a biospirit. It's everything about the person. It's the genetics, the language, the history, the heritage, the way we form countries. It's completely different in every race. And if you start dissolving all the races, which is what's being done, it's not happening, it's being done. If you dissolve all the races, you're not going to have these unique, beautiful Japanese culture. I just saw a video a couple of days ago, blacks being Buddhist monks. Women, female monks. Now go figure that one out. I don't know what kind of blacks they were, so I'm saying blacks as an overall description, not derogatory. They happily say they're black. You know, we're not allowed to say anything anymore because, that's anti-whiteism actually. When they say that, you can't say black. What do you mean I can't say black? What do you want to say? Green? Should I say blue? Should I say you know, I don't know, what do you want me to say? Because they could be from anywhere. There's no point saying they're African anymore because they're in Australia or they're in Tibet or wherever. So what do you want me to say? You really back white people in a corner. It's not political correctness. It's anti-whiteism. It's constantly putting white people on edge on everything so that they never stand up for themselves. Well, that's going to stop. That's got to stop right now. Because if it doesn't stop, we are going to be genocided completely. And our countries are going to be stolen from us. It's time to stand up. It's time to take back our skills, our manufacturer, our families. Our women need to come home. Our children need to come home and homeschooled. I'm telling you, the schools in the Commonwealth of Australia are damaging our children. Understand that. This is not political. It's done on purpose. So that's my take. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm putting out. Okay, I've seen it time and time again. It's happened to me. I've been defamed. I can't get a home because I was defamed by a bunch of Indians who insisted it was an Indian community. I was born in that area. I'm native to that area. But this is an Indian community and we'll get you out of here. What, for asking you not to turn your car around in front of my fucking door? Are you joking? And then Chinese people doing the same thing, didn't stick up for me. No, we'll take sides with Indians who say those kinds of things, who spit around a car during COVID time when they all believe that there's this big bad disease, so they spit on the ground all around my car. Is that the kind of behavior that's white friendly and white positive? Or do you think that's anti-whiteism? I'll leave that one hanging.